Get the pumpkin spice and apple cider ready, folks, because fall weather is officially here and it is definitely cooled down in a big way. And we will be going through the next couple of weeks in today's weather forecast. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. If you are new to the channel and if you like detailed weather breakdowns across North America, including the tropics, this is the place for you. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and I definitely appreciate it. Also, press the like button, it helps to get all of this information out to as many people as possible. So with that fall front that did have that big transition and almost a shock to the system type of weather here, we've gone from the 80s all the way back into the 50s for highs here across portions of the northern plains, and there is much more to go with this cold front as we go through the next few days. So going all the way back to Tuesday, these are your storm reports here across Nebraska into west central Kansas and then a little area down into western Texas. We had quite a few reports of severe weather. In fact, we had 100 severe weather reports in total, with 4 tornadoes reported all the way up here into eastern portions of Nebraska, central Nebraska, and into northwestern Kansas on Tuesday. And then transitioning into Wednesday, that front continued to move further to the south, and as expected, we did see another 75 reports of severe weather from Oklahoma down into Texas, especially into western and northwest Texas and into north central Texas, with 1 tornado reported in the western Texas panhandle there on Wednesday. And here's what we see here overall, zooming out the weather pattern for you. This is your height anomaly. So where you see the blues, the purples, and the lighter pinks, that's where we see the colder anomalies start to shape up with that cold front that did move through. And where you start to see the reds and oranges, that's where we see the ridging, the building heights, and the warmer anomalies start to build across British Columbia, Alberta, down into the Pacific Northwest, and really much of the western U.S. as a whole as we go into this weekend. Look at your high temperatures this afternoon. That fall front has left a mark on the northern plains and upper Midwest. We are going to be struggling to get above the 50-degree mark into portions of North Dakota, South Dakota, getting into Minnesota, and much of the Northwoods of Wisconsin. It is going to be a struggle to get above the 50-degree mark, whereas further to the south, it'll be a pleasant cool down. We're seeing temperatures in the 70s and 80s, and I am not seeing any 90s on the map at all unless you go all the way down into far South Florida or down here into Arizona or California as we go through the day today. And we in fact have a cold enough air mass where we do have freeze watches in the lighter blues and even freeze warnings in the darker blues out here that stretches across the Dakotas, western Minnesota, the northwestern parts of Iowa there, getting into Nebraska, Kansas, Colorado, and even into Wyoming as well. So this is a far and wide-reaching cold front here. And look at as we wake up on your Saturday morning, tomorrow morning, it's going to be rather chilly, folks. I mean, we're talking widespread frost at the very least, and probably even some widespread hard freezes across those very areas that have those freeze watches. So if you do have any plants out here, make sure they are protected, because this could actually be as far south as southwestern or west central Kansas with our hard freezes and our frosts for your Saturday morning. And look at that, folks. North Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, we're at 55, 46 in Amarillo, 44 there in Oklahoma City, and 47 for the low there into Little Rock, Arkansas as we go into your Saturday morning. So very chilly to go around there, and we're only going to be recovering back into the 50s and 60s in those areas as we get into Saturday afternoon, with the coldest temperatures across the central Great Lakes region from Wisconsin into the upper peninsula of Michigan and the lower peninsula of Michigan as we go into Saturday afternoon. And then extending into Sunday, much of the same, chilly up there toward the Great Lakes, New England, and warming up a tad bit more across the western United States, and again across the southern plains. We'll start to see a little bit of that return flow as we go into Sunday, but still very pleasant temperatures. We're going to be in the 70s and low 80s area wide from Kansas down into Oklahoma and into Texas. Now looking here at the precipitation forecast for today, not much happening out across the west. High pressure is dominating. This is the cold Canadian high pressure system that is going to be controlling our very warm or very chilly air mass rather across this region. And then you start to see more of the rain shower activity with an upper level low there into southeastern portions portions of Canada with that cold front that we were talking about that's finally reaching portions of the eastern United States. And what is that? Yes, that is Felipe that is just around the Bermuda region. That's going to continue to lift north as we go into Saturday, and that will be tossing up some moisture into the northeast across portions of Maine, getting into Vermont, New Hampshire, and all the way down through New York State, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, you name it. We're going to be seeing some precipitation on Saturday, and then getting into Sunday, we'll dry out a bit, especially the immediate northeast near the coastline. But we could still see some precipitation, spotty showers from northern Maine down into upstate New York and even portions of northwest Pennsylvania. And yes, you see blue on the map, folks. That is in Ontario and even western Quebec. That is snow showers for your Sunday, especially Sunday morning into midday, and that could be adding up. But here's Felipe's track. You can see right now maximum sustained winds at 50 miles per hour. It is moving north at 16 miles per hour and is likely to remain a tropical storm or post-tropical cyclone as we go into this upcoming weekend. And here's the rainfall that will be starting to move in across this region. We're going to be seeing a few inches of rain across Quebec into Ontario and much of the Northeast, seeing at least 1 to 3 inches worth of rain, higher amounts locally possible than that. So definitely seeing some flooding concerns for there. And with the snowfall across eastern portions of Ontario, this could be some sticking snow as we go into eastern Ontario and western Quebec there. We could be seeing a couple of inches, at least on grassy surfaces, up across these regions as we go into this upcoming weekend. So don't be surprised if you wake up on Sunday morning across eastern Quebec and start to see a lot of snow showers and snowflakes coming down from those clouds, because it's going to be cold enough across those areas. And speaking of the chilly air, it will be, staying around across the eastern United States toward the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. We're going to be seeing below average temperatures right through the middle of October there by next weekend. And will remain in that same pattern across the west with above normal temperatures right straight through next week and into next weekend as well. And looking at the precipitation, it does look a little bit more active across the east than the west right now as we go into next week, and a little bit drier to near normal across the middle of the country here. And just speaking about our next storm system, we're keeping an eye on this. Things can change, but by next Wednesday, we're already keeping an eye on Lee surface cyclogenesis coming off of the Rockies, and we could have a fairly potent low pressure system and a very sharp front that'll start to set up somewhere across the mid-Missouri Valley, the Midwest, and the Ohio Valley. And this would be the focal point for lift. You lifting up that moisture, creating clouds and creating rain showers and even some thunderstorms out here. And we could be seeing that from portions of the Kansas City region through Des Moines, the Chicagoland area, over there toward portions of Detroit. And then that continues even as we go into Thursday, as the storm system continues to strengthen and push across the mid-Missouri Valley, that front hanging out there, producing some heavier rainfall, and then that slides further to the east. By the time we get into Friday, we should be drying out across the Midwest on Friday, especially into Friday night. But another cold Canadian high pressure system in the wake of that storm is going to actually cause another cool down as we head in towards next weekend as well. So that is something to keep an eye on. And looking at the rainfall totals, we need it up here into the Midwest and through the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes region. And there's going to be a sharp gradient of where people don't see rain and other people do see rain in through this region during the middle and late portion of next week. And just zooming it in here, this model in particular is very excited to give Chicago 3.5 inches of rain, very excited to give the Davenport Quad Cities region around 3 to 4 inches of rain there, and even back toward Des Moines a couple of inches of rain as we get into the middle and late portion of next week. But I want to stress to you folks, this is a very sharp gradient. Notice Chicago on this model has 3.5 inches of rain, but you go as far north as Milwaukee, Madison, or even Green Bay, and you're basically almost out of that rainfall band. So definitely something to keep an eye on. If this wobbles north or south, it's going to definitely affect your rainfall totals significantly. during the middle and late portion of next week. And this is going to help wherever we see the rainfall, no matter where it is across this region. It will be a big help to our drought situation as it does continue to intensify through even the fall months. I know it cools down and it doesn't intensify as fast as in the summer, but it's still there, folks, and we're going to continue to see this drought for the foreseeable future. So any rainfall, any liquid precipitation, any snowfall that we do see this upcoming winter will be helpful and getting rid of this drought slowly but surely through that time frame. And reminding you about that front next week, yeah, look at the sharp gradient there. If you're south of that front, we're going to be seeing temperatures in the 70s and 80s, so borderline spring-like conditions. And then to the north of the front, more fall-like conditions with temperatures in the 40s and 50s on Thursday. And then as we go into Friday, much of the same. It just depends on where that low pressure system tracks and where that front sets up is where those temperatures will be setting up in toward that Thursday, Friday time frame next week. And even as we go into Saturday morning, notice behind that storm system, like I was mentioning, we're going to have another cold Canadian high pressure system, and that is going to be giving us some more freezes and frosts out here, especially into the Rockies and maybe into the northern plains and the Canadian prairies as well, as we go into that Friday and even that Saturday morning time frame. So something to keep an eye on there. If you have not seen my winter weather forecast for 2023 and 24, make sure to go see that. That is in the link to the description for that down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Very much appreciated. Like this video, share this video on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. I do appreciate that, and I hope everybody has a great weekend out there.